And hello, everyone. Welcome to another power scanning session. It is May 23rd, 2026. And once again, today we will be on the lookout for the most interesting swing trading setups for the week and the weeks ahead. My name is Daniel, and I will be your moderator throughout this presentation. And once again, today I'm greeting you from beautiful Montreal in Canada. It's an amazing weekend here in Montreal. The weather is fantastic. It's 20 degrees, which is quite seasonable for the end of spring, so to say. It's F1 weekend today in town. So the Formula One is in town. It's always a big spectacle here. All the big, the big cars around the city. The racetrack is right near downtown. It's about 5 kilometers, give or take off. I can even actually hear it sometimes from my home, which is quite cool. So it's not really far outside the city. It's actually on an island in the St. Lawrence River. So they're racing around that island, which is pretty awesome. And it's NHL playoff times. You probably can see it on my shirt here in support of the Montreal Canadiens taking on today the Carolina Hurricanes for game two. We managed to win game one in Carolina. I'm super stoked. Great 6-2 victory, and today is game two, so we'll see how this is going to go. I'm definitely going to be watching it somewhere in the city today. But enough about me. Where are you guys calling in from? Who do we have in the room today? So let's see. Who do we have? We have Daryl once again from San Francisco. Hey, Daryl, good morning to you. How are you? Linda's there from Orangeville, Ontario. Raining all day, miserable. I'm sorry to hear this, Linda. I hope this weather is not coming over here to Montreal. Chances are it might, because we are a bit east of Orange. Well, I would imagine for sure we are. And with the wind typically facing or going towards the east, this weather may come our way. Hopefully not. Andrea is there from Munich. Hey there, how's it going? How are you doing? Frank is in the room once again. Frank from Den Haag, the Netherlands. Hey, Frank, how are you today? All right, who else do we have in the room today? Let me see. We have a bunch of familiar faces. Aubrey is there too. Hey, Aubrey, how are you? How's Cyprus today? I imagine it's nice and toasty over there in Cyprus. Um, cool Cyprus, 21 degrees. Okay, that's a nice evening breeze. I would expect a bit higher temperatures. In Cyprus right now, only 21. That's like what we have in Montreal, currently at 20 degrees centigrade. All right. And it says cloudy all day in Cyprus. Oh, well, you can't have sun every day. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sharing your location. Let's get started with today's session. So, first off, once again today, we will be on the lookout for swing trades today. A swing trade typically takes between 1 and 20 weeks, but what perhaps is more or even more important is that a swing trade needs to be managed. You should check up on your trade at least once a day to make sure that it's still going well, to check if you need to adjust the swing trade, if you perhaps want to close it, book some profits, maybe roll your options positions if it was an options trade and so forth. So swing trades do need to be managed. And what we'll be doing today is what we call our 13 minutes strategy. The number, once again, is not so important, but what's important is that something you can do every single day after the market closes in just a few minutes. Our dashboard and the scanner that we will be using today is designed for efficiency. It's designed to allow you to find what you're looking for with just a couple of mouse clicks. How this works, we're going to discover together in today's presentation. Just real quick, this is a slide which I presented about 2 weeks ago in our Lunch and Learn sessions on Tuesday, which is my swing trading routine. How do I use the dashboard on a routine basis, on a recurring basis every single day? So what I typically do is I set up my criteria in terms of dynamic watch lists and trade alerts. This is just one thing you do only once. That's something you do once and it's set forever. So this is a one-time activity. I set up my criteria. Then at 8 a.m. in the morning, so my lifestyle is more suited to this, to do this in the morning rather than the evening. So at 8 a.m. in the morning before the market opens, I log into the dashboard. I check up what is the up-to-date updated contents of my dynamic watch list. And these update every single day because the criteria remain the same, but the stocks that qualify, or the symbols that qualify or disqualify for these criteria, these will change every day. So based on what I see, I quickly scroll through all the hits. I create a hot list of symbols which I find of particular interest when the market opens, and I also come up with a trade plan. So if the market opens, everything still checks out, I know exactly how I'm going to trade this particular symbol for my hot list. And then at 9:30, when the market opens, I then jump into the live market data. I make sure that nothing outstanding has changed, and if things already all check out, I execute the trade. That's my swing trading routine, and I try to do this every single day. And it's important in trading that you have some sort of routine and process in place, which is repeatable, which is systematic, and only then you can, look at your steps, you can try to optimize what you're doing and so forth. All right. Now, real quick, who are we in the first place? Well, we are tradingindicators.com. As mentioned before, my name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side, and together with Homa, here in the middle, we have created Trading Indicators about 10 years ago. Nicholas here on the right-hand side has joined us about 5 years ago, and he's become our lead developer ever since. And as our name suggests, we specialize on creating innovative trading indicators. That's really our bread and butter. We've been doing this for many, many years. We have clients all over the world. We've built thousands of trading indicators. What we'll be doing today is to use some of our flagship indicators to scan for interesting swing trading setups using our trade scanner called Liquidity View. Now, how this works, we're going to discover together today. Just a quick reminder that trading does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, or really anything based on historical price data, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, let's go quickly through a couple of housekeeping items. First off, what we'll be doing today is to interactively scan for swing trading setups using our great Liquidity View dashboard. It would be best if you followed along. Now, if you don't have access to our dashboard yet, you can try it out right now for 1 week for free simply by going to tradingindicators.com/view. And Nicholas, please put this into the chat box. It's already there. Thanks, Nicholas. Go there. Go to this link, say, hey, I want to try out the dashboard, put in the information onto the form. You will have to put your payment information too, but you will not be charged in that first week, and you can cancel at any time. Of course, if you want to stay on board, we have interesting monthly and yearly options. And best of all, if you do so, if you sign up for a free trial, you will get instant access within a minute or so, and you can follow along interactively. All right, moving on. Next, we have a very comprehensive bootcamp recorded for our dashboard, available at this link here, tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. It took 3 hours to record it, basically nonstop. It's very comprehensive and detailed. But if you ever wondered, hey, what are all the different features in the dashboard? What's out there, what I potentially can use for my process? We don't expect you to use all the features, that's not needed, but you can then pick and choose which ones you like for your process. Check it out at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. We also have a Discord channel available at tradingindicators.com/Discord. Check it out. It's completely free to join. And in this Discord channel, we frequently post trade setups, trade ideas. We discuss certain things and so forth. The more people that join, the merrier it will be. It's tradingindicators.com/Discord. And lastly, we do have an ebook called The Power of Three. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can download it now at this link here, tradingindicators.com/power of three. Also, this link will be pasted by Niklas into the chat box. And finally, if you have any feedback, and I thank all of you who have already sent us some feedback in the last couple of weeks regarding our dashboard, regarding our trade scanner, please keep it coming. Your feedback is what drives the further development of our dashboard. We take all of your feedback into account. Many of your notes and suggestions, they will find their way in one form or another into our dashboard. And that's really cool, I think. You can get your voice heard, so to say. You have your voice heard. And oftentimes, if you have a good suggestion, it may find itself into the dashboard as well. So a piece of you kind of thing, that is also part of our Liquidity View dashboard. So please keep it coming. All right. So with this, let's get started with our market review. What has happened in the last week in the market? So I'm going to switch over now to the dashboard. Where do we have it? There we go. And let's see what happened with the SPY, starting with the ETF that tracks the S&P 500s. All right. So, well, and I want to ignore this crooked line here. I think I'm a bit off. I was expecting a deeper pullback here. Actually, let me remove this one. It looks ugly anyways. So what has happened last week in the SPY? We did have, for the first time in about a month, a level 1 pullback. Besides this, everything was always green. We were very extended prices. Prices knew only one direction to go, which is the long direction. And we had the small pullback. Prices came down a little bit, not really much, and then they paced up higher again. Now we're pushing towards the all-time highs with Friday's market data. I didn't really get there, but it's really close to the all-time high. So I was hoping for a bit of a deeper pullback, more meaningful pullback towards this broken resistance level. It didn't happen. And now, I mean, it feels like, hey, we're going to push a bit higher. Will I jump in right now for a long position? Probably not. I still feel that prices are very extended. Look how far we are away from our average lines here. So I personally will wait for this symbol to come down a bit further, come closer to the average lines of our MA Rush indicator, potentially even getting close to this broken resistance level, and then I will consider some long positions. But right now, in the ozone layer up here, it's a bit too extended for me. And to me, the risk of having a pullback is a bit too elevated. All right, let's move on to the Qs, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. There we go. And also here we can see, and once again, I'm going to delete this line here. It's not needed anymore. Once again, we did have a minor little shallow pullback, a little island of red here in a sea of green on our trend radar indicator, meaning we came down just a little bit, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3% off the market, which is basically nothing. And then prices pushed and paced higher again. So also here, we are extended. You can see it here. Prices are far away from our average lines. And to me, I'm always hesitant to enter at these price levels. It's just too far out there. I will patiently wait for a bit of a pullback also here in the Qs. It's a bit of a different story when it comes to the Russell 2000. Let's open up the IWM, because what you will see here, first of all, is that our setup that we called out, and I was very happy about this, that we called out last week worked out perfectly. Remember? Maybe if you were here, of course, you remember. If you weren't, you cannot. But remember what we said, that prices came down from the all-time highs here down to this green line. That's a broken resistance level now acting as support. We came down exactly to our entry area, this little square here, and when this happens, we thought there's a good chance that prices may bounce off this level towards higher price levels. And that's exactly what happened. So beautiful bounce here, a level 3 pullback as per trend radar as well. And if you remember, this symbol also was part of our watch list that we created last week. So that one worked out beautifully. But now we're extended again. I will wait once again for prices to come down potentially and then enter on a pullback into a potential long position in the IWM. And remember, these are swing trades. These are not buy and hold investments. So from a buy and hold perspective, you may say, hey, Daniel, let's just jump into the SPY or the Qs. I'll keep it for 10 years, and chances are you're going to be in a good profit. This is not what we're looking for today. Or in this session, we are looking for swing trades, which will last a couple of weeks. You're going to get in at a good moment and then out when things have gone in your direction or perhaps against you. You want to cut your losses. So this is what swing trading is all about. All right, so let's move on, talk about oil a little bit. USO, the United States Oil Fund, and things here also have gone or become a bit interesting because once again, prices have been volatile, of course, as you would expect with oil. But once again, we're getting into the proximity of what? You can see it down here, of this upwards facing trend channel and the lower end of this upwards facing trend channel. And I believe when the market opens on Tuesday, of course, we have a Memorial Day on Monday. When the US market opens on Tuesday, If we see some sort of pullback into this entry area, which would bring us towards the lower end of this trend channel, this can be an interesting opportunity to potentially enter into a long trade here also in USO. Maybe even something with options. Maybe with credit spreads, as option prices are quite elevated. If you go back to the dashboard here, we can see that the heat index of USO, our great indication here, is at 9.35, meaning you pay right now, of course, the markets are closed right now, but on Friday you paid 9.35% premium for options with 30 days till expiration at the money. That's a fairly high premium. And if premiums are elevated like this lends itself naturally for an option selling strategy. So maybe selling some puts at the money on this price level here with buying a protective put out of the money for lesser premium, which would be a net option selling strategy. Maybe not the worst idea. And anticipating, okay, we may see a bounce of this price levels towards higher, of this lower end of the trend channel towards higher price levels. So to me, that could be something of interest. It's risk limited because of oil, you never know. We've been so extended, and people say these levels cannot be sustained for much longer. So if we break below, it might be a big break. I want to limit my risk. Maybe a credit spread could be an interesting idea. We will definitely discuss this on Tuesday in our Lunch and Learn session. Let's move on. Gold, GLD. What's going on with gold? Well, gold kind of was boring last week. Nothing really happened. Prices were really flat throughout the entire week, just staying in this area right above support here at around 400. Now currently at 413. Level 4 pullback on our trend radar indicator. And so far, so good. So far, this pullback is holding up. And I mentioned it last week. Gold hasn't seen a deeper pullback than level 4 in about almost 3 years, 2.5 years. That's a long time. In those 2.5 years, in the last 2.5 years, a level pullback was the maximum we could see, and it every time was a good opportunity to potentially look for a long position in gold. And I see the same thing right now. Looking for potentially a long position here, banking on the fact we're going to be bouncing off this level towards higher price levels. So gold is interesting for this as well. Let's look at silver. SLV, similar story here. Silver, of course, is more volatile than gold. Huge move up. We knew this towards all the way up until the end of January. Then a huge correction to the downside, and now prices are stuck more or less in this sideways channel, in this horizontal channel, which, however, is interesting because first of all, it's really wide. So if you measure the distance from the lower end this channel all the way to the upper end, you will get something like I think more than 20%. Let me just measure it real quick. That's 31%. Do I read this correctly? Yeah, 31%. That's huge. That would be a huge price move. And I believe every time prices are coming down towards the lower end of this channel where we are right now, this can be an interesting long opportunity as well. Perhaps also credit spreads here, anticipating we're going to see a bounce off the lower end towards higher price levels. So credit spreads, once again, if you want to limit your risk, and taking into account that option prices right now also a bit elevated in silver at 6.7% right now. All right. Lastly, let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is once again, and I thought maybe we're gonna bounce higher, but no, we're back right at this critical level, and I want to hold this level really badly at 75,000. Or to like this level around 75,000, 74,000 is better holding, because if we lose it to the downside, I think the next level would be 64,000, maybe even lower. And then we're really back into bearish territory. So right now we're testing this level. It was broken before, we came above, we retested it here, prices bounced, and now we're retesting this green level here, this former resistance level now acting as support. And if you look at today's price data, of course, Bitcoin trades 24/7. We can see here in our live mode that we're right now at 74,400. So really right spot on this level. So better hold. I'm hoping for a bounce. And when I say I'm hoping, it's because I personally have a long position, a strategic long position in Bitcoin. I even added to it when prices came down to the 70,000 price level here a couple of months ago. I added a bit to it, anticipating Bitcoin will recover in the long run. Well, we'll see if this happens. This is why I personally am hoping to hold this price level. All right, so this was our market review. Now let's have a quick look at our watch list from last week. So I'm going to go down to our watch list here. This one should also be in your account if you have access to the dashboard, because we are sharing our watch list from these scanning sessions. So we're going to click on this one here and let's go through it step by step. So which ones did we have? AGI, Alamos Gold, was our first hit here in our watch list. Yeah, nothing has happened here. So the setup is still completely valid. We're still above this support level. And if you're not in this trade yet, I think Alamos Gold could be also an interesting trade to consider for next week. It's completely valid. Price is testing support here within a strong uptrend. Let me just quickly look what the heat index of the symbol is. 7.55. So also a credit spread here potentially could be of interest. AutoNation, our next symbol from last week. Beautiful bounce. I was very happy to see this. Nice bounce on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off the support level down here. And just something to point out, and I mentioned this a few times in prior sessions, it's an interesting phenomena. I still don't have any empirical data to back me up, but the phenomena is, and it's a feel right now, so I want to get some data eventually. If we have two levels like this one here at around 188, this red level here, and another level nearby at 180, they're really far by or close by. If you measure this out, they're only, I don't know, 4% apart. That's not much. If there are two levels nearby, oftentimes it is the lower level when we're looking for long setups, which is the more meaningful. And exactly this happened here. Prices came down to the lower level. We broke the upper one, came down to the lower one, and bounced off nicely off this level towards higher price levels. So this one worked out quite nicely. Moving on, Bellfuse Inc. Zone Brick retrace set up last week. Nice bounce to the upside. Nice trade. This worked out beautifully. CCG, Chemical Corporation. Still, we get to our entry zone. We didn't see the bounce yet that I wanted to see. I like the setup still for this week for a potential bounce towards higher price levels of this support level here. CCJ Chemical, of course, a symbol which has been in a long-term uptrend for quite some time. So now testing support. This one's definitely interesting for next week as well. GE Aerospace, rinse and repeat, we said here. Look at this beautiful trade here. We traded this one down here, back here, and now once again, and every time we saw a beautiful bounce off this support level towards higher price levels. This has happened. This has worked out beautifully here for GE Aerospace, the stock, which has been in a long-term uptrend. You can see it here. Now we're consolidating, but every time we come into the lower end of this consolidation channel here, these can be interesting long opportunities from a swing trading point of view. And the Russell, we talked about the Russell, worked out nicely, bounce off from a resistance here. Parker Hannifin, I think we're talking about this one every single time. We also see signs of a bounce here off the support level. We came a bit below, now above again. So far, so good. And finally, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this one, SBS, Water Treatment Company in Sao Paulo. I've lived in Sao Paulo for many months. I kind of jokingly said last week, hey, if somebody needs water treatment, it is Sao Paulo. It's a huge city with a lot of, need for water treatment. And this company has been a long-term uptrend, testing support here. We're still at the support level, so still of interest right now at the current price levels. So overall, honestly, I think we had a really good week, some really nice bounces. And the ones which didn't pan out yet, the setup is still valid. Nothing really happened. They like this stock here. And it's an interesting play potentially for the next week. All right, so that was our review of the market. Let me quickly see if there are any questions that came in. Let me quickly see. Aubrey says it's a cloudy day.
No questions, Daniel.
NVIDIA, we're going to get to later on. Perfect. Great. Okay, so in this case, we're going to move over now to my slides real quick, and we will look at our process, how we're going to be finding new setups for the next couple of weeks. So what is our process? Well, we basically always look for the same setup. Never change a winning team. This has worked out beautifully for us. So let's just keep doing it. So what are we looking for? Well, first of all, we are looking for trend entries in the long direction. We're trading stocks and ETFs. They have an upside bias. We want to bank on this bias when it comes to our trading. So long entry, first thing, but not blindly. We want to find long entries for stocks and ETFs which are already in a sustained and long-term uptrend. The longer the better, the more stable and smooth the better it is. That's one of our preconditions. But of course, we don't want to get in blindly. We want to patiently wait for a pullback. That's why I don't want to chase the SPY right now or the QQQ because they are so extended. I want to patiently wait for a pullback. The good news is, even if the overall market is super bullish right now, super extended, there are individual stocks, quite a few of them actually, which are currently have this kind of pullback situation. When it comes to pullback, what we are really looking for is what we call a healthy pullback, which is right in the sweet spot. It's not too small, where it's not really meaningful, and not too big, where a whole trend reversal may occur. So right in the sweet spot, we call this the healthy pullback, which would be either 3 levels down in our trend radar indicator or 4 levels down. All right, and now the cherry on the cake is ideally we want this pullback to coincide with a key support level, with a technical level on the chart. You can see it here. We're coming down from above in an uptrend down to a key technical level. And the idea is we're going to see a bounce of this level towards higher price levels. Or here on this one here, very similar story. We call this zone break retrace. We, prior to the pullback, we broke above resistance. Prices initially went up on this breakout move, then corrected down. And where did they go down? Where did they go down to? Down to the broken resistance level, now acting as support. And this can be a launch pad oftentimes for another push higher. This is what we're looking for today. So how do we find these traits of our dashboard? So back to the dashboard. There we go. And let's enter these criteria into our scanner. And before we do, let me just clear out some of these columns here, which are not so relevant right now. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to hide the date column, the exchange for now, industry sector 2, 52-week high as well. Dividend we don't really need. Heat index going to keep. And there we go. That's a year to date. I'm going to also hide for now, just to keep it a bit cleaner. There we go. Okay. Oh, 1 second. There we go. Year to date. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Now I have a clean setup. Okay, so how do we enter these criteria? And criteria number 1 is long-term uptrend. All right, let's do it. So for this, we're going to use our MA rush indicator. It's this one here on the chart, which shows you these bullish and bearish labels on your chart. This indicator here. So it shows the bullish and bearish labels on the chart. And depending on what the latest or the last label was, it gives you the current trend direction. So for Alcoa, for example, here, the last label on the chart is a bull label, meaning the current trend is bullish in Alcoa. And the cool thing is we can filter for these bullish stocks. And for this, we're going to go back to our scanner here on the left-hand side. We will use our MA rush column here. We select the filter to the right of it, and we select a criteria called bullish for more than 500 trading days. That's a criteria we can pick here. There are other criteria too, but this is the one we want to pick for today. So bullish for at least 500 trading days. And we can see once we do this, of our 6,180 stocks that we're currently tracking with our scanner, 1,004 stocks are currently bullish for more than 500 trading days. That's pretty cool. For example, one such stock is, just pick one here. So what randomly, like this one here, Egan. Egan LTD, can see it here clearly in an uptrend. A nice uptrending stock. Would I enter right now on this stock? Well, probably not. Why? Because it's not in a pullback state. Whilst we are bullish, but we don't want to enter in the ozone layer. We want to patiently wait for a pullback. So how do we find these pullbacks? And this is where our trend radar indicator comes in. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to put my notes here. This is where our trend radar down here comes in, because it shows us these pullback situations by means of these reddish levels within otherwise greenish areas. And we can scan for this. And if you remember, for us or to us, the perfect pullback, the healthy pullback, is a pullback where we are pulling back either 3 levels or 4 levels as per our trend radar indicator. We can scan for this by going to this pullback column here, selecting the filter on the right of it, and select either level 3 or level 4. Once done, we can see now we're down to 144 stocks. And one example here, for example, is this one here, Rosta Inc. All right, bullish trend, clearly 3 levels down as per our trend radar indicator. Nice. There's one more thing I want to scan for. I want this pullback to coincide with a key technical level on the chart. Yeah. So I want prices to come down to either a former resistance level or perhaps a former support level. And for this, our liquidity IQ indicator comes in. We also have a scan for this. So we're going to go to our liquidity IQ setup column here, select the filter and select long bounce, prices are coming down to former or to support, or long break retrace, prices are coming down to a former resistance level, now acting as support. There's one last thing I like to do at the end of the scanning process. We're down to only 12 stocks now. That was pretty cool. I like to sort by trend duration, by our MA, by this number here next to our MA rush, in our MA rush column. So from top to bottom, and the first one that comes up is in fact Cameco. Let's focus on the one that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, not the one that's traded in Toronto. Cameco, we're opening up right here in our entry level. You can see it here at support, long-term uptrend, level 4 pullback. I like it for the next week. I know we had it on our radar last week already. Nothing really happened so far. I still like it for a long entry. So Cameco is going to be our first stock in our watch list for next week. So let me go ahead and create this watch list. There we go. Where do we have it? There we go. All the way down here. I have so many watch lists here. I'm going to create a new one. There we go. Weekly swing trades. Colon 2026-05-23. I can't believe it's already May 23rd. Time really flies. It's crazy. It's scary. Okay, so we're creating this watch list. It's created. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to add this symbol to our watch list. There we go. Come on. What is going on? One second, guys. It's this one here. I'm going to add it to. Oh, no, this is not the. Oh, I think my. One second. Is it possible that my scrolling thing is not working here? Hang on. Nope. Can I go here? Oh, it might be. Oh, you know what? This might be an issue with our with. We made some changes in the last week to make the dashboard more responsive for the mobile. Maybe this one broke something on the desktop version. So I'm going to use a little workaround for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this watch list just so that it shows up a bit higher here alphabetically. We're going to fix this in a couple of days, but let me just rename this watch list because I can't get there to just put a 1 in the front. So today, that way it will show up at the very top. And now I can just edit here. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to share this watch list with you as well now. This one here, I'm going to share it. Oh, it's all the way out on top. There we go. Share it with you. And just don't be surprised if it shows up all the way on the top. And what I will also do is I will unshare the watch list. Give me just 1 second from April 18. Perfect. All right, and now we already added Cameco to our watch list. Moving on. Next stock is our Brazilian stock here, the water treatment stock in Sao Paulo. What? Oh my goodness, what is going on? Guys, can you still hear me? I wonder if my internet connection is a little...
We can hear you.
It's still good?
Yeah. Nope.
There we go. Okay.
Any drop off.
Perfect. So maybe just our server was a bit slow today. Let me just reload the dashboard. There we go. Okay. So, this is good. Perfect. Sorting by trend duration. This is our Sao Paulo stock here, the water treatment stock. I still like it. Honestly, I will keep it on our radar for next week as well. Adding to it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Moving on. Interactive Brokers, our trusted broker. We are using Interactive Brokers for all our futures trading, and I use it personally for all my options trading and my longer term investments as well. It's a great company. So they have also great perks for institutional accounts where you may want to have sub accounts and for different purposes and so forth. So I like Interactive Brokers. It is an interesting swing trading setup right now from a technical point of view. The only thing here is that in the past, and I believe in patterns when it comes to technical analysis, in the past, these corrections, and this is the beginning of a correction here, they have been a bit deeper than just a small correction here. So I think we're down maybe 8% right now in price from the all-time high here, down to this former resistance level around, 8%. In the past, corrections of around 20% have not been uncommon, 21% here, for example. So I kind of feel that, hey, we may come down a bit deeper in intensive brokers, down perhaps to this resistance level here. Remember when I said that if two levels are really close to each other, oftentimes it's the lower one, which is the more meaningful one. So I'm gonna skip into active brokers. I like the setup, but I think we're gonna come down a bit lower. And if we do, I think the entry opportunity would be here at around 73, not up here at 78 or 79. Moving on, Walmart. All right, I like it. Great setup here in Walmart. Very smooth uptrending stock. We had earnings a couple of days ago, which created these down gap here. If you remember, down gaps are bullish scenarios because gaps oftentimes get filled over time. Now with a down gap here, and if this gap were to be filled in the next week's price would need to come up all the way to the 130 level here. Besides this, we came down all the way to the support level 4 pullback on trend radar, and we're in a very stable uptrend. I like Walmart for the next week, so I'm going to add it to our watch list. There we go. All right, moving on. Next one on our list here is Woodward Inc. All right, what do we see here? I think at least that's a weapons company. Also in a stable uptrend. We came down off this resistance level here at around 406. Let me just measure this out. From top down here, around 16%, down to the support level. Yeah, I like it also for a long trade. For next week, I'm going to add it to our list. Perfect. And perhaps one more on this scanning session here. Cummins, I guess they're pronounced Cummins. Industrial machines company, beautiful uptrend. You can see it here. Prices came down roughly. How far did we come down? Let me quickly measure this here from the all-time high down right now to this level. 12%, 11% to this former resistance level. I like it for next week as well. This is our long break retrace setup, potentially looking for a bounce off this resistance level, now acting as support towards higher price levels. So adding Cummins also to our list. Perfect. And there's some other ones here. There's some interesting gold stocks. You can see it here. For example, IAG, IM Gold, also now testing support here. If you want to get some gold exposure, maybe this could be an interesting idea as well. Also GFI, just talking about gold stocks here. Let me just quickly, actually guys, I'm going to show you something cool now. Okay, so I just mentioned GFI. Why? Because I had a webinar before this one in German, and this symbol was requested, so it's still fresh in my head. It's Gold Fields, it's the company. And let's say I want to look it up, and I have all my filters on it. So I want to look it up, and I can type in GFI, I guess, into my thing here. I could open it up on the chart, but if I also want to have it on the scanner, GFI would be here, but it would not come out on the scanner because we have all these filters on. But what we can do with GFI is what we could do now is we could delete our filters temporarily. Look at this. I'm clearing my filters. I'm looking up GFI. Just came to my head. Goldfields Limited. There we go. Has an interesting setup. Yeah, let's check it out. Okay. Testing support here. Great. And actually, I'm going to add this to our heat list as well, to our watch list. There we go. And now let's say I want to go back to my previous filters. And you probably have seen this before because I mentioned this last week already. It used to, if you want to go back, you would need to normally re-enter your scan criteria, your filter criteria. But now we have this button here. You can see this little green button with the little arrow coming backwards. Revert last filters. I click on it, and all my prior filters are now being restored. Isn't that cool? Huge time saver. And once again, a testament to the fact that this dashboard is designed for efficiency. All right, just wanted to show you how this one works. Okay, let's change it up. So let me actually clear the filters now for good because I want to change it up a little bit. And the next setup I want to find is the following. So I want to find some stocks which, just quickly have a look here, which are long-term bullish, like really long-term, for more than 1,000 trading days. And we've seen a pullback on these stocks. Actually, yeah, a pullback of level 3 or level 4 on these stocks. But I don't want to put in the requirement of this pullback coinciding with a technical level on the chart. And there's a reason for this. So I also am sorting here from in trend by trend direction, a trend duration from highest to lowest. I'm going to skip this crypto stock here because I think it's trading very low. Let's start with this one here, Casey's General Stores. And I'm telling you now why I like this one and why I had to skip this requirement here. Because sometimes, and here's an example of this, sometimes a stock is so bullish, it's so far away from any prior technical level that it's unrealistic to wait for prices to come down to a technical level. Yet perhaps I still want to trade this stock. Like Casey's here, I like it because this came down 3 levels down. We pulled back from almost 900 down to, I don't know, 815. That's 10%. How far is this? That's a bit more than 10%. Yeah, down 9 to 10% pullback. That's interesting. And maybe that's all we can get with Casey's General Stores. I like it. And I think this could be an interesting opportunity, something to consider for you guys that, you know, finding stocks which are in a very steady uptrend, pulled back a little bit, but this pullback does not necessarily coincide with a resistance level. One thing I would do for this one here, for example, I would still wait for a bit longer for Casey's here for this pullback to perhaps come down a little bit further until we're coinciding here with this upper MA rush level. This one here. Maybe this one. So I'm going to add this one to our list, but just be aware, I personally would wait a bit more until we're coming down towards this first MA rush line. Let me add it to our list. Perfect. And Martin is asking, where can I find my shared watch list? Martin, this is only available in the pro version of the dashboard. So if you are on the cap trader version, so for you guys out there, the cap trader version is a special version for our German clients, which we are offering in cooperation with a broker. It's kind of a version which scans through fewer symbols, has fewer scans available, also doesn't have all the bells and whistles. But Martin, if you want to see the shared watch list, you will need to have this pro version first, the Liquidity IQ version. And I believe the link was posted in our German webinar before. All right, so that's an interesting one. So a stock which is a long-term uptrend for 1,772 trading days has seen a pullback, but no technical level is nearby. But still, you might be interested in trading this particular stock. This is how you can find it. And there's another run I wanted to do, which is the following, another scan. And this will bring us to two interesting stocks. So bear with me. So this setup is the following. So we once again clear our filters. I reestablished the filter. Hey, I want to be bullish for at least 500 trading days. I will, in this case, not use my pullback filter. There's a reason for this, but I want the stock to coincide with a key technical level, regardless of the pullback. And now some interesting stocks are coming up. Number one is this one here. For all the currency traders out there, look at this beautiful currency move here. This is a US dollar Indian rupee. I'm not sure if you're an FX trader or not, but you can see beautiful uptrend. Look at these little small little patches of red within this otherwise very green area. And you can see here clearly, the US dollar is gaining strength compared to the Indian rupee, currently pulling back towards this former resistance level here, this one here. This could be also an interesting long entry potentially for this FX trade if you are one of the FX traders out there. And another one that came up, I'm going to skip a whole bunch of them. Now, we already discussed the chemical sensor here. It doesn't have an interesting setup because we're coming from below to a level, not so interesting. But one thing that comes up, if I go down a little bit further, give me 1 second, NVIDIA. All right, so let's talk about NVIDIA for a second. All right, so NVIDIA had earnings on Wednesday, I believe. Kind of a tame reaction of the market to the earnings. But then we came down a little bit. So earnings were announced, market prices came down a little bit in NVIDIA, and now we're testing this former resistance level here in NVIDIA, which might be acting as support. Would I jump in here? And once again with NVIDIA, and I might be completely wrong. Of course, this is just my own opinion. It's definitely not a trade recommendation or any recommendation of sorts. I personally would not yet get into NVIDIA because here I kind of feel that once again, we have these two levels next to each other. One here at 211 or 212 and one here at 197. Once again, if two levels are next to each other or very close by, oftentimes, at least in my view, it's the lower one, which is the more meaningful one. And I think here NVIDIA might come down to this towards this level 197. And potentially then we could look for long entries here at this price level in NVIDIA. So I would be careful to jump in here. It's only level 2 pullback also on trend radar, which is quite shallow. There might be a bit more to come, my opinion, on NVIDIA. All right. Okay, so let me go back to one more thing. I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little bit here. I had some notes here, but I think I didn't follow them properly in my in my process. I want to go back one more time, and please, sorry for the jumping. One more time, I'm going to clear the filters. I'm going to go back to our list of stocks which have been bullish for at least 1,000 trading days and which are currently, I hope I'm not messing this up, in a level 3 or level 4 pullback. Give me like one quick second here because there's one stock I wanted to find. And I found it earlier. I'm sorting by trend duration. Oh, this one here. MCore. That's an interesting one. So let's open this one here. MCore Group Inc. An S&P 500 stock in which sector? I believe it's in industrials and I believe in engineering and construction. Okay, what do we see here? Let's open up the chart. So, long-term bullish. Trend radar is showing us in that bullish trend a pullback of 3 levels down. 1, 2, 3 levels down, coinciding with this technical level on the chart here, this former resistance level. And I believe this could also be an interesting opportunity to potentially look for a long position, or at least ski into a long position, anticipating that we're going to be bouncing off this level towards higher price levels. I'm going to add MCore as well to our list for next week. There we go. Perfect. All right. Let's now review what we found. So this was the one stock I really wanted to show you as well. So let's see what have we found. So I'm going to go back to our watch list. There we go. Our weekly swing trades for May 23rd, 2026. And we can see we only have what? We only have 4 stocks. 1 second, guys. Did I had some filters on? Okay, cool. It happens to me too. I had some filters on. We have 8 stocks. Perfect. 8 symbols that we can consider for next week. Let's just go through these real quick here. Casey's General Store, I like it. I want price to come down a little bit further, but besides this, I think it's an interesting long opportunity here. And if we are going to our trade notes here, trade notes are available on the Pro version. We can see that prices came down. Oh, this was back here in September 27. We had Casey's on our radar. Oh boy, that would have been a great trade. Back here in September last year. Oh boy. That was a long time ago we had Casey's on. Is that possible? Let's 1 second. What was that? Yeah, I guess September 27. This is real quick. Give me 1 second. Where? Here. We had it down here in September for a long entry. Yeah, beautiful follow through afterwards. But now Casey's is coming down again. And I'm going to add a trade note for this. If we are coming down to our level that we projected, this could be an interesting long entry with this little mark here. Okay, saving it. Perfect. Moving on. CCJ, I like it. Yeah, Chemical for a potential long entry. Absolutely. And we had this many times on our trend radar. I'm going to re-edit here for a potential long entry off this support level, a bounce off this support level. Okay, MCore Group. Moving on. A stock we haven't traded yet, EME, a stock in the S&P 500, currently testing former resistance, now acting as support. I like it also here for a long entry. We'll just add this here as a trade note for next week, so we can keep a memory of this. Safe. Perfect. Moving on, our water treatment company in Sao Paulo. I mean, it's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, so that should not be an issue trading this stock. I like the setup. That's a beautiful pullback in a long-term uptrend. And if you measure this out from top peak here to this pullback here, that's 22%. That's a really healthy pullback in the sense. And for a stock, nothing uncommon. I like it still for next week. I want to add it as well to our trade notes. All right. Perfect. Saving it. Moving on. Walmart. Yes. Interesting one for sure. After the earnings gap here, down gaps are bullish patterns because if they were to get filled, prices would need to come up all the way here to the 130 level. I like it for next week quite a bit as well. So I'm going to add Walmart as well to our list. Perfect. Good. And then we have two more to go. We have GFI, our Gold Fields Limited. Gold testing support here, level 5 pullback. So it's a bit deeper here. But if you want to get some exposure in gold, GFI might be a way to do it, or you do it directly with the ETF, with GLD. Nonetheless, I'm going to add GFI to our list here as well. All right. You can see GFI was traded last time by us on Jan 31st. All right, so adding this one as well to our list. A couple of months later. Okay, and two more stocks. Woodward Inc., aerospace and defense, currently also here testing support. Yeah, also an interesting setup. We're going to edit. And lastly, we do have our of comments. Specialty machinery, big machinery here, generators and so forth. Long-term uptrend, level 3 pullback, testing former resistance, now acting as support. I like it also for a potential long entry. Perfect. All right. I think we have a couple of very interesting candidates for next week. Let's see how this one will pan out. We'll know more next Saturday when we meet again here for our scanning session. And now it's time, almost time, to talk about your questions and your symbol requests. But before I do, a quick reminder here on my slides that if you are interested in trying out our great liquidity view scanner and dashboard, you can do it for 1 week completely free simply by going to tradingindicators.com/view. You have to put your payment information in, but you will not be charged and you can cancel at any time. So try it out for a week. I'm sure you'll like it. We're going to feature it again on Tuesday in our Lunch and Learn session, where we potentially look for maybe a long entry in oil, USO, perhaps with a credit spread, who knows, and so forth. So check it out at tradingindicators.com/view. And now let's get to your questions. So Niklas, do we have some questions that we can address?
Yeah, Anne wants to say, can you tell me what the heat index is and which of your indicators make that show up on your scans? Which of your indicators? Oh, how do you turn on the heat index and what is it?
Okay. Yes, so the heat index is this column here. If you don't see it now as scanner, either you need to scroll a little bit to with the scroll bar down here, or it's not enabled in the first place. And you have to enable it using this button here all the way on the left-hand side. That's our column configurator button. Complicated word, but it's just basically, it helps you to enable or disable some scan columns. You can click on it and you go all the way down to heat index. There we go. And make sure there's a check mark to the left of it, because if not, it will not be shown. If there's a check mark, this column will be shown. Now, the heat index relates to options pricing. And let me just give you some examples. I'm going to go to the S&P 500s here. And you can see these, there's different values in the heat index. And if sometimes there's no value at all, because that means, hey, that stock is not reasonably optionable. There's no options change available, or it's really illiquid. If there's a heat index, you can consider it for an options trade, and the heat index will give you an idea of how cheap or how expensive option premiums are right now. As a rule of thumb, a heat index of around 3 or even less than 3 is a very affordable options premium. Like, for example, here, a very cheap one here is this one here, PEG. Let's check it out. Yeah, 1.55. That means this stock is not expected to move much. In the future, option premiums are really affordable now because of that. But sometimes you also have heat indexes. Let me just sort here from highest to lowest of around, let's see here, Sanders 13.82. Wow. There's been some, that's interesting. Okay, maybe something we can discuss also in our lunch and learn session. 13.82%. Yeah, of course, Sanders is very bullish. I mean, probably the most, but for sure, the most bullish stock in the S&P 500 right now. Saw a bit of a retracement. Actually, I missed this one here. Level 2 pullback, which could have been a great opportunity to potentially do something with options. See, maybe also a credit spread anticipating. All right. Prices will eventually grind higher, but just in case there will be a deeper correction, I have a protection to the downside. Yeah, so that's what the heat index tells you, how expensive or how cheap options premiums are right now. All right. Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. Anne says, when you put something on your watch list, what are you waiting for? Like to watch for the opening price, some sort of confirmation on daily or hourly candles, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, I look at some other technical data as well, like the heat index and so forth. I come up. Actually, let me quickly go to my slides here. So we have this process that I call this my swing trading routine. So I put things on my watch list. Let's say this is done. We have our watch list put together, which I call my hot list of symbols, something that has become of interest now. So we have this hot list created. That's the process we've done right now. But of course, then I also want to come up with a trading plan for the symbols in there. And the trading plan really depends on how do I want to execute this long setup? Either I want to buy maybe the stocks outright, maybe I want to do something with options, or either buying options potentially or shorting options. And this really depends on what else do I see? What are the option prices right now? How far is the next resistance level away? How do I see the future volatility of that stock? And so forth. I come up with a plan for these symbols, and then sometimes when I'm trying to come up with a plan, the plan doesn't really sound right to me. So I may even disqualify that stock on my hot list. But once I have a plan in place, when the market opens on at 9:30 the next day, or in our case, 9:30 on Tuesday, what I check is, hey, where did we open? Did we gap a lot? What is the overall feel when it opens? And if I still like what I see, if it still confirms the setup that I have in mind and the future price direction, then I would execute my trade based on the trading plan. But yeah, I definitely wait for the market to open just to see if the setup is still valid. All right.
Okay, and how far out do you do options for swing trades? And do you choose deltas in the money or out of the money?
That's a loaded question. It really depends on the option strategy that you want to use. If you're buying options or selling options, that's something we can discuss on Tuesday when we have a bit more time. But as a rule of, it really depends. It's hard to use a blanket statement for this. But if I selling puts, cash secured puts, I think this is perhaps what you're asking for. I typically sell them at either at the money or delta 40, something like this for selling puts. If that was my strategy, so really close to the money. Yeah.
Thanks, Daniel. Can you take a look at NVIDIA, please?
Yes. We just had NVIDIA on the chart, but I'm
Oh,
going to open it up again real
okay.
quick. Yeah, level 2 pullback here on NVIDIA coming down. And the idea was to come down to this, but that's my idea, to this lower level here at around 198. So the idea is that this upper resistance level, I just feel that prices may come down a bit lower. And then here at 198, this might be the bottom for this current pullback.
Can you please look at Tesla?
Yeah, Tesla. All right. Alrighty. Short. I don't know if it's just looking here. Currently in the magnet zone, bullish for 406 trading days. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Yeah, right in the middle between support here and resistance up there. Hard to me to make a call on this one. It's I like to trade, and you know this already, when we're close to a technical level, either down here at 339 or up here at 489. These are the levels where I like to place my trades, either for a bounce or perhaps a break, depending on what I see. Right now, Uh, I yeah, it's definitely a bullish stock. I would not be surprised if we see a push higher towards this level, but I would not trade this right now from a swing trading point of view.
Thank you. And the next one's going to be, oh, I think this was a comment about when you were saying that SanDisk was so bullish. What about Amphenol?
Yeah,
And
we
Anne
also
says,
had it.
thank you.
Yeah, so Amphenol looks great. It was on our list last week. Actually, I still have open credit spreads on Amphenol. 1 second. There we go. Where is it? What? Oh, maybe it wasn't on our list last week. 1 second. Where was it? Was it here? Whatever. Let me just type it in again. Maybe I deleted it accidentally. Let me go back to my all symbols. Amphenol. All right. Yeah, it bounced really nicely. Yeah, we had it here. I came down to support. I opened up credit spreads, I think back here, maybe May 12th or something, which are now a bit in the money, not as much as I wanted them to be. So I still think this is going to come up a bit more, but at least the initial move, the initial bounce has happened, which makes it, yeah, makes it very encouraging. Would I enter right now still into this trade? Probably not, because the moment really was down here when prices were close to the support level. But overall, Amphenol is it's a nice stock to trade. It's very responsive to certain to technical levels on the chart, and of course, a stock which has been a long-term uptrend, now consolidating a little bit. But every time it comes to the lower end of this consolidation um, channel here, this could be an interesting long idea. Yeah.
Perfect. And can you please look at XGN?
XGN, what is that? Let me have
I
a
don't
look.
know.
XGN, this one here. What's that? Healthcare. Okay, it's oh, Exogen. Okay. Oh yeah, let's have a quick look here at Exogen. Big move up here, all-time highs in October this year. Then the trend, the bullish trend that we had here, changed over. It flopped over to the bearish side. We bounced off nicely off the support level. Even in the bearish trend, you do see some bullish bounces here, but no, it looks bearish to me. So there's nothing I would consider for the long direction. So
Perfect.
if
And
anything, I would see another leg potentially further down.
Oracle, please.
Yeah, Oracle. Yeah, Oracle recovered a bit, and people have talked about Oracle a lot. And of course, the fact that the entire software sector or industry group has, turned bearish. I had a huge pullback lately. Oracle was no exception to this. Oracle pulled back a lot. I mean, really a lot from the all-time high. See at 346. Larry Ellison was the richest person in the world temporarily. Then this huge sell-off all the way to this bottom area here. Trend is bearish. Uh, I think software will recover. Will Oracle be the stock that will lead the way? Maybe. But from a swing trading point of view, if you just look at Oracle, this is not something I would go long at right now. We're still bearish here. Of course, we held this support level here, which is encouraging, but will we see a full recovery? Potentially, but it's not the setup I would typically trade. Yeah,
Can you look at Oops. Can you look at Oxy, please?
yeah,
OXY.
yeah. Occidental Petroleum, what's going on there? All right. 4.44 on heat index turned bullish. I still once this was one of Warren Buffett's favorite stocks. It's kind of all over the place. I know it's sideways. Now, what turned bullish coming close to this resistance level here. Ah, not my cup of tea. Maybe if you're coming down here to this support level at around 52, look for potential long entry, think about a bounce of this level. But right now, in between support and resistance here, I probably would wait until prices come down towards this level before I engage into longs.
The next one is, yeah,
MATC.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Applied materials. All right.
And for
Oh,
corporate actions, Daniel, do you use that usually for insider buying? What's it useful for?
it's useful to see when their earnings coming up. Because especially for option trades, you want to be aware of when earnings coming up, not just for options in general as well, but I use it for options a lot because upcoming earnings naturally will give rise to higher options prices. Um, and subsequently, after the earnings are done, you'll see the what they call the IV crush, the implied volatility crush. So option price will drop down because, earnings are always a big surprise factor. Basically, you never really know what will happen there. But driver option prices beforehand, but afterwards, option prices will typically go down again. And it's just important to be aware of these events when they happen to time out your option strategy, for example. Also, but just to avoid trading when these kind of surprise moments in the markets are coming up, because trading should be to some degree predictable with as few surprises as possible. And earnings, of course, are a surprise moment for this. Okay, the Applied Material, yeah, nice long-term bullish stock here, bullish since when is it? July 2025. We had earnings here, nothing happened here. Prices came down a little bit. Yeah, it's an interesting for long. There's still, I think we discussed this before. There's still this gap here. You can barely see it. Let me just hide Emmy Rush. This gap here, this up gap, which hasn't been filled yet. These always sometimes scare me a little bit because if this gap was to get filled or were to get filled, price would need to come down to 351. So quite a bit of a drop down here. But overall, it looks quite bullish. Yeah, especially if we come down perhaps one more time to this level here, 398 or 400. This could be a potential long opportunity. Yeah. All right. Insmet. What's that? From Lynn. Insmet. Do we have that one? Insmet Incorporated. All right. Biotechnology in the Nasdaq 100s. All right. What do we see here? Yeah, okay. Bullish for quite some time. We made all-time highs in December last year. Now a big pullback, more than 100%. The trend hasn't changed yet, but I also don't really see any technical level nearby. I think this may come down all the way up until maybe 84, maybe even 60, and then potentially look for longs. But yeah, it's a bit hard to say because we lost the support level here. Now the next one is either here, 85, or even lower at around 60. Yeah, I potentially would not go long this stock right now. And AMD from N. All right. Okay. Advanced micro devices, semiconductors. I heard that some bigger investors out there that are currently shorting semiconductors, expecting a bit of a correction to the downside, which perhaps is not the worst idea. And of course, if you were to short, I would only do this with options. Let me just quickly see what is the option price for AMD 5.8. Not very cheap. Quite a bit of volatility here. We made all-time highs on Friday, in fact. A couple of gaps in the market here, but look how far we are off our average lines here. So maybe it's time for a correction. There's also this big gap here, this earnings gap, which was not filled yet. This one here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would not go long for sure at this level here. That's not my cup of tea. If I were to short it only with risk limited plays, maybe with some put options or some credit spreads here, call spreads, call credit spreads, banking on the fact that we might see a bit of a correction to the downside towards the average lines. RTX, all right, from Andrew. RTX Corporation. Yeah, it was a really beautiful long-term bullish stock. And I know we had it on our radar, I believe, when it came down to this level here. It did not hold up. We came further down, now trading at this 171 level here. I think the bottom might be around this level here at 166, at this former support level here, which I believe is still somewhere in scope. But I would wait to see some signs of a bounce of this level here. So, yeah. Overall, still bullish. The trend is your friend. Don't discount this correction that we saw here, was just a bit deeper than we thought. Let me measure this real quick. From here to the bottom, that was about 20%. Yeah, it's still nothing crazy for us. Only 20% down. This happens frequently. But yeah, but this technical level up here, I believe this one we looked at this one did not hold up. All right, perfect. Okay, so just one last thing I wanted to show. What was that? I wanted to go back to one of our prior watch lists. Not the one from last week, but the one, I believe, either from this, not the 16th, sorry for that. Either the 9th here, this one here. No, the one before. One second, guys. From the 2nd of May. Where was that? Wait, maybe the one before. There's something I wanted to point out, but now it escapes me a little bit. I can't find it right now, but it doesn't matter. Uh, but sometimes it's worthwhile revisiting some of the traits that we found in the earlier weeks just to see how they have panned out. And I've got some really cool moves at times. I just can't find the one I really wanted to show you. But sometimes it just takes a bit longer, that's what I wanted to say, for a trade to pan out. And it's just, it pays off to just stick with your trade plan a bit longer, give this trade a bit more room, and bank on the fact that, yeah, this is a long-term trending stock. The trend eventually will continue. All right. And it says, do you have an active Discord with ideas? We do have a Discord channel. It's not as active as we want it to be yet, but we do have a Discord channel, and the link is in the chat, and you can get to it here. So it's tradingindicators.com/Discord to join our Discord channel, and please, yeah, post some setups there, ask some questions, and we'll be happy to address those. We also are posting setups there every once in a while, both from a swing trading, but also from a day trading point of view. Perfect. All right, so I think this brings us towards the end of this presentation, of this webinar. Let me just quickly go back to my slides one more time, because the last thing I wanted to say is, if you are interested in the dashboard, you got the link here, tradingindicators.com/view, to sign up for a week's trial. And if there were any questions which we didn't address for some reason, you can always reach out to us via our homepage, tradingindicators.com. Go to support, then contact, put your question into the contact form, and this question will then come straight to my inbox, and I pride myself in answering every single question personally. With this, guys, I wish you all a great weekend. Get some rest. I, for once, will enjoy the hockey game tonight. F1 is in Montreal as well. I will not be at the race, but I will definitely watch it on TV and enjoy the atmosphere in the city of all the celebrations going on left and right. With this, guys, enjoy your weekend. Take some time off. Enjoy the long weekend if you're in the US, and talk to you next week. Bye bye, guys. Cheers.